North and west of the city of Seoul, 22 miles from the Seoul Sports Complex and the Olympic Park. The team time trial course is on the Tongilo or Unification Road that leads towards North Korea. It's a 25-kilometer course starting at Taejari. It basically is a flat, straight ride to the turnaround at Munsan, within 4 miles of the infamous demilitarized zone separating North and South Korea. The team started 2-minute intervals, making 2 full laps of the circuit for a total of 100 kilometers, or roughly 62 miles.
This event is a race against the clock, and one in which the winning margin is a matter of seconds. But over the last few years, times have dropped by minutes, due in part to better training, but more to the advances in the design of the bicycles themselves. The standard racing bicycle is similar to the bike you might have at home. It is not an uncommon sight. But the newer aerodynamic funny bike certainly is unusual. What was a square-fronted bus is now a sleek sports car cutting a hole in the wind. And in bicycle racing, the wind is the enemy. At jogging speeds, there's almost no wind drag. But as velocity increases to bicycle racing speeds, the drag of the air is a major factor. The rider on a normal bicycle catches a great deal of air across his body, and spoke wheels thrash that air like an egg beater. Pulled down out of the wind and riding on smooth disc wheels, this rider slices through the air like a knife. In the team time trial, not one, but a formation of 4 bicycles creates a large single vehicle to push through the cushion of air. 4 of the smaller funny bikes not only present a lower frontal area and a more streamlined package, but one which is also shorter and which moves less air. The end result is that by reducing the size and changing the shape of the formation to create less drag, a team can carve as much as 7 minutes off its time in this 100-kilometer race against the clock. And in this race against time, the U.S. has borrowed from the triathletes in using the forearm rest handlebars, not practical for mass start competition, but potentially useful in this event on their streamlined bicycles.
And even as the U.S. team members make their final preparations for the start, the impact of the ever-changing technology now being tested in the inspection area as officials of the International Cycling Federation take a very close look at the bikes that are being presented by the East Germans. The radically designed U.S. machines were approved 2 days ago, and now the East Germans seem pleased that their latest lightweight wind-slicing creations have received a similar okay. So now, Brian, all the talk about the technological advances is about to be put to a true test, and the U.S. riders are on the line preparing to do just that.
Well, Gary, it is, after all, a competition among athletes, and the bicycles really have just evened it all up. Everyone has their own special aerodynamic bicycles, and it's going to just come down to the athletes that can pedal them down the road the fastest.
The U.S. team bronze medal winners in 1984 in this event in Los Angeles, but this is a young team, no Olympic experience. They're all facing their first test now in a battle for a possible upset and a shot at a medal.
And they roll smoothly off the line. The leader of the team on the far left there of the screen is Andy Paul, and he is the one with the most experience of the group anyway in this event, and he is the one that they will look to. He's also the biggest man on the team as they head down the road, Gary.
Meanwhile, one of the members of the Italian team, remarkably nonchalant and well composed as they look ahead to their anticipated start and a defense of their world championship that they won in Austria. Meanwhile, a look of extreme determination written on the faces of the powerful East German squad. They're all business as they take their spot at the line, and this is a veteran team. Uwe Ampler and Mario Kummer, both men with world championship experience.
And, Gary, I think the whole world is waiting to see what the men in silver are going to do as this color uniform strikes fear into the hearts of a lot of riders, and great anticipation into fans everywhere.
Countdown complete, and the East Germans pull away now. They face 100 kilometers, better than 60 miles.
And they have an interesting formation here, a real double file. It almost looks like 2 separate teams racing each other down the road as they get started in order there.
And rolling now to the start-finish line, the late arriving Soviet team, 3-time Olympic champions. Of course, they weren't in Los Angeles 4 years ago. They have something to prove today.
Indeed, they do. They lost by 12 seconds in the World Championships last year, Gary, and that was after they led by 44 seconds with 25 kilometers to go. 3 former world champions on this powerful squad, and they're off. And here they also use this double formation here. It looks like 2 teams racing each other down the road, very similar to the East Germans. This is a technique we haven't seen before today.
And now the Italians ready to get to business. The deep breaths, perhaps a sign of some nervous apprehension. Winners in Los Angeles of the gold 4 years ago. They would love to do it once again in '88.
Well, I can't imagine being anything but nervous on the starting line at the Olympic Games, even though this is a very experienced group of riders led by Aris Poli, who was a gold medalist in '84.
And the big question now, can they repeat? The Tongilo Road Course north of Seoul. Gary Gerald along with Brian Drebber. The first cycling event of the '88 Olympic Games, the 100-kilometer team time trial. And for the riders from the United States, all has not gone well. They're not where they hope to be in the final 25-kilometer leg. And the question must be asked, has the technology failed, or is it simply a matter of the riders not being able to produce? Meanwhile, a major surprise is the team from Sweden is showing unexpected strength. They were 8th after 75 kilometers, but they've upped the pace, and while others seem to be fading, they're coming on strong. At the finish line, Team USA, one rider missing, no Tony Palmer in sight. It's their best time ever in international competition, but the likelihood of getting a medal appears to be remote. Back on the road, time to check the favorites. The Soviets appear to be smooth, but their split times are not as strong as expected.
But they're still a great team, Gary, and they can really pull it off in this final 25 kilometers. They have to be remembering that this is where they were defeated by only 12 seconds in the World Championships last year.
And the team that beat them, the Italians, now battling fatigue, but continuing to look smooth and strong. The question, are their split times good enough?
Well, their preparation has been fantastic. They're 4 very evenly matched riders. They are good enough. The question is whether they're good enough today.
Another team on the move and another surprise. The team from Poland, second at the halfway point, continues a strong showing. But could this be the team? The Gray Ghosts, as they're known. And look at the precision as Uwe Ampler and company grind on.
And they're riding very easily right now. They're very much within themselves at this point. We've seen signs of struggling among the other teams, but not the team from the German Democratic Republic.
And coming to the finish line, the Swedes in a position to take the lead. And look at the time. They crossed the stripe in less than 2 hours and moved to the #1 position. Meanwhile, the Poles continue to press on with their strong showing.
They were once one of the top nations in amateur cycling. They have had a long drought in medals in World Championship and Olympic competition, but they look determined.
As the heat and the humidity now begin to take a toll, the Soviets seem to be fading.
Yes, Gary, you can read the way that they're sitting on their bikes. This team is struggling.
And as the Soviets struggle, the team from the German Democratic Republic rolls on. It's not effortless, but it looks remarkably fresh.
They look very, very good at this point and not far to the finish line.
And at the finish line, the team from Poland comes looking for the lead. And as they come to the stripe, it'll be good enough for the top spot. And it is an Olympic best time. The only team that can now beat them for a gold medal is the East Germans. And charging to the line after nearly 62 miles of competition, the Gray Ghosts from East Germany have accomplished their mission. By 6 seconds, they have defeated the upstart Poles for a gold medal.
And look at the average speed, 51 kilometers an hour for 2 hours.
The Soviets, meanwhile, a disappointing performance. The only question now, will they get a medal?
And Gary, the answer is no. This team is not going to get a medal today. They have not lived up to expectations.
Getting off his bike, totally spent, Uwe Ampler, the anchor of the East German team. The first time they have ever won a gold medal in Olympic 100K team time trial competition. As for the other overall team favorites, another disappointing day for the Italians. They thought they had a shot at the gold, but they're only 5th best as they cross the stripe. small consolation the fact that they defeated the Soviet Union. So the final standings show the East Germans on top. Poland and Sweden battle and take the silver and bronze. France is fourth, followed by Italy, West Germany, the Soviet Union, and the United States rounds out the top 10. And so the solemnity of a traditionally great moment in all athletic competition. The flags are raised, the medals are presented to the German Democratic Republic.